Yeah, welcome everybody. Thanks for waiting on me. We just got off the practice field, so been an eventful day, but been a great day. I don't know, in all the years of recruiting, we were talking driving over the practice field, that if we've ever honestly had a day like this where so many things went in our favor. Had a few recruits here that went down to the wire, and really proud of our staff. Our recruiting staff, I want to name them by name: Annie Hansen, Drew Hill, Cole Smith, Zach Heffley, Caroline McMurray, and Chip Viney. They've been they've been phenomenal throughout this entire process. Our coaching staff did a great job as we've tried to manage balancing the getting ready for a playoff game with also obviously some major recruiting events going on, getting out seeing these guys, and it's a very rewarding and gratifying day. So proud of all our guys, the way that they stuck with us. This class was special from the beginning. It started with some great players that decided to jump on early. Like a lot of great classes, this class continued to help us recruit. And it's been a very unselfish class. We've had a lot of great players that see that, yes, I can go accomplish individual things I want to at Oklahoma, but these great players wanted to play together. They wanted to win. They wanted to win championships and continue to build on the legacy that so many people have worked hard to set here before. So proud of that, and so proud of our entire staff for the way they've handled this entire session. I think it's really benefited us this time around to have been in the playoff the year before, especially with the early signing day being new last year. I think we learned a lot of things as far as our time management, how we wanted to manage the class, from handling visits to also getting the team ready, to getting the prep work we needed as coaches. It felt more normal, more smooth this year, and so give a lot of credit to our staff on that. So obviously a tremendous day, a lot of excitement throughout the day. Had some decisions that went down to the wire that I know were kind of exciting for us, for Sooner Nation, to see those guys choose OU, and a lot of great players that we're certainly excited to get them here.
Lincoln, during the year at one point you said you hoped to add to last year's defensive line class with another great class back to back. Do you feel like in this class you were able to do that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think you start talking about the strengths on paper of this class, it's hard not to start there, with what we added there. I mean, our top targets throughout the process were the guys we ended up getting. I mean, Corey Roberson was a top prospect, a top target for us. Marcus Hicks was. Marcus Stripling was. LaRon popped up here late and really was a thing that, was a big need at a big-time point for us. Derek Green was one early that we really identified, really loved, out in North Carolina. So it was one of those deals where it just kind of came together, and give Calvin Thibodeau a lot of credit. We've really backed up two really nice, defensive line classes here back to back, and we said that, whatever it was 18 months ago, that, recruiting that position was going to be a priority, that we've been good there. We got to get back to being elite there, and I think these two classes are a big step in that direction.
How in the world did you maintain your momentum with the not knowing who your defensive coordinator is and passing that message along to the defensive recruits, especially flipping a guy on signing day?
Yeah, I think they believe in us as a staff. I think our guys believe in this program when they are able to get here and see it with their own eyes. They see where we're at, which is at a great place right now, but I think they also feel like everybody does in this building, strong about where we're going, and the fact that we can get so much better. And I think our players see that, and so I think they trust us, and they trust the direction that this thing's going. They trust any changes that we'll make are going to be in their best interest and do nothing but make this program better. And I think that we've been able to be upfront and honest. I mean, that's always our number one approach in recruiting, no matter if it's good news, bad news, whatever it is we always try to be straightforward with these guys. And I think I think our prospects, their families appreciate that.
Can you describe the process the last couple of days with Cordell?
Yeah, it was one for the book. It was one for the book. So great player, obviously comes out of a prime program there at Mater Dei in California. Guy we've had our eye on for a long time. his recruitment really picked up here at the end. He had, one of those guys that had kind of his choice to go where he wanted to go, and was a huge target for us. Safety was certainly a position we wanted to continue to address in this class, and he gives you some great versatility that we're excited about. Physical, but also can cover, and really love the kid and his maturity. So it was a tough decision for him, and it came down to the wire. But it was a cool moment when he chose the Sooners.
We all saw obviously the celebration. Is that kind of a culmination of how much work goes into each and every one of these recruitments?
Yeah, no doubt. It's one of those celebrations. I guess that one got put out on social media, but every time one of these guys commits, it's not always captured on video, but there's a extreme level of excitement because we're competing for the best players in the country, and it's competitive. There's no doubt about it. And these guys got a lot of good places they can choose. So when they choose OU, they trust us with their future and developing them and being all that we need to be for them. It's a great feeling, and Jay doing that today was pretty awesome.
Is that way you usually react when a guy says it's OU?
It's pretty, yeah. It's we get pretty excited. It's no different than scoring a touchdown or winning a big game. It's the competitive parts that that have got to come together, and you've got to win your fair share. And so we have fun with it. I think as everybody can see, we put a lot into recruiting. We put our heart and soul into that too, as much as we do winning games. We know it all matters. We got a staff that's led by a recruiting staff that's fully invested in it, and so absolutely we definitely get excited when a guy chooses us.
Do you enjoy recruit? Do you just absolutely enjoy it, or is it just something you have to do as part of the job?
No, I enjoy it. Like anything, there's parts of it at times that maybe you wish weren't part of it, but the process of getting around all over the country, getting to kind of know these guys. That evaluation part's fine. I enjoy more of getting to know them and their families throughout the process. And then I do enjoy the competitive part of it, without a doubt. It's, again, no different in the game. It's a chance to compete and put our best foot forward.
Can Spencer Rattler start for you next year, do you think?
Oh, a lot goes into that. I mean, I think, physically he'll be as gifted as anybody that we've brought in here. I felt that for a long time, even when I watched him as a freshman, that he was a cut above most guys out there. So he's got elite physical talent, and I think he's got the mentality to come in and compete early. As Spencer knows, we've got other really good quarterbacks on this roster, and there's going to be competition like there's always been. And so, but any of these guys we signed, we don't sign or recruit many of these guys if we think they're 2 or 3 years down the line of being capable of doing it. Now, being capable is one thing, going and doing it's another.
Were you concerned at all by late in the season, his ineligibility, late in his season, missing the last few games?
No.
Did anything about that concern?
No. It's conversations with him and his family. We've had a good open relationship with them for a long time, so zero concern.
I think that you're getting a lot of interest on behalf of transfers at the quarterback position for obvious reasons with Baker and what Baker and Kyler have done under your guidance. How do you balance any of that with dealing with the high school kids you're recruiting at that position? Do you have to be mindful of being aware of how they might see any interest you guys might have in someone who's already played college ball, who's entered the portal and that kind of thing?
Yeah, sure. No, that's always a piece of the puzzle. And I would not say just at quarterback. I mean, that's something you deal with at any position. So it's not honestly that new or that uncommon. You always deal with, what do you have in that room? And, guys this day and age, they want to come in and play early. And so I think at times you end up weeding out some people that maybe deep down have some self-doubts about, can they really come do it at this level, or can they really come win a job? I mean, to do it at a place like this, you got to believe in yourself, 100%. If there's any cracks in that, then it's going to be tough to accomplish what you want to accomplish at an elite level like this. And so, I mean, I think for us it goes back, and I said it earlier, to honesty. We let our guys know where we're at, what our situations are in each position room, and I think all of our guys are very well aware and very comfortable.
Lincoln, how crucial was it for Spencer to sort of be the face of the class last 18 months?
Well, quarterbacks are important. I mean, you ask any player out there at any position, any recruit, they want to play with great quarterbacks, because most guys are smart enough to realize that, it's tough to win and win big without a really good quarterback. It's tough to do. and guys want to play with great quarterbacks. And so, yeah, Spencer, jumping on early, did a great job as kind of being one of the leaders there. But we had several guys that that jumped on early, that really helped us recruit, that kind of, kick-started this whole thing and kept momentum going. I mean, Jonathan Perkins was another guy that was phenomenal with that. Theo Weiss was great. Stacy Wilkins, EJ Ndoma Ogar, he was awesome. I mean, there's several. I'm probably missing a few, honestly, right now. But our guys most of these guys were all in from the beginning, and they just wanted to continue to build this thing into a very special class, and they're a huge reason why it is what it is right now.
And you offered him going into his sophomore year. So,
Who you are?
Spencer,
Spencer.
And obviously quarterbacks is your deal. What did you see in him that early that you'd make a commitment to him as well as him make a commitment to you?
Yeah, he was the earliest player that I've ever offered. We were in the Bud Wilkinson over there before we came to this facility, and Tim Kish, with all his West Coast connections, brought his film into my office and said, "I want you to watch this quarterback." And I looked at it and I saw he was a 2019, and this was right after the 2015 season. I'm like, "You want me to watch a freshman?" Kind of like, really? And then they turned on the tape. I was like, "Well, okay," And so I got out that spring and saw him, and I could see right away that. You could see there was something special there, and as I got to know him and his family, it made offering him, not a tough decision.
And there's the uncertainty maybe for players about who the defensive coordinator will be, but what about position coaches that are out recruiting those guys? How curious are players about those jobs, and what are you able to tell them as far as reassurances that those guys will also be there or not, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, you always have to be as honest as you can with what you know right now, and they know what I know, and they know what these coaches know. That just like any season, any school in America, you're going to sit down at the end of the year and you're going to evaluate things. And there's no, players know there's no guarantees for coaches anywhere. I mean, but I do think our players consistently across the board can feel the stability within this program right now, and this is as stable of a program and a setting and a staff as you're going to find. I mean, Oklahoma is just, so when you don't see this program doing this, it stays right there. And that level of stability can be felt when these guys come on official visits, when they get around the program, when they compare it to other places they go, they feel that. And so I think they understand where we're at. We've been totally upfront, and I think they're confident in any direction that we decide to take.
A lot has been made of keeping the defensive class together despite the defensive coordinator change you made in October. Was that something you were worried about at all in the aftermath of that it might shake things up a little bit?
I mean, it's possible, but I don't think you can let that stand in the way of doing what you think's right. And I felt like we had built up enough of a relationship with these guys. I think Oklahoma had made enough of an impression on these guys that, if you lose a guy or two over it, yeah, you hate it, but you got to go find other people, and that's part of it. But I think they understand the direction we're going. They understand, that we're always going to be looking out to make things better, and we're not going to let anything stand in the way of trying to make this thing as good as we possibly can.
We got a great pipeline in Allen, Texas.
Yeah.
You're going to be disappointed if you don't ever get who you want out of there, because it seems like you just go 2 or 3 every year.
Yeah, it's been Allen's been great to us, as have so many schools across the country, in Oklahoma and Texas, East Coast, West Coast. We've got some though that have really been good to us, and Allen's certainly towards the top of the list, if not at the top, with what Kyler, Bobby, Lee, Tay Evans, obviously EJ, Theo today. That school has been tremendous, and so I think there's. What those guys have been able to see is a history of not only guys coming here, but coming here and doing extremely well. And so, great relationship with those guys, those coaches, and it's been very, I think we've been good to them and they've been good to us.
Do you know what you want your defense to look like next year? Right now, today, do you know exactly what you want, or are you going to hire a coordinator and say, it's yours? Or does it even matter today?
Oh, it doesn't matter a ton today. What matters today is getting this class signed and trying to get ready to beat Alabama. Have I thought about it some here, traveling, doing all this? Yep, sure I have. But I know I don't have to make a decision right now. I know that, things are going to continue to evolve and change, both in our program and on the outside, that could have effects on that. But Would you, generally speaking, do I know what I'm looking for? Yes.
You have a timetable yet?
No, we're going to get through the games, and then we'll see.
How crucial was that closing kick today, adding guys like Cradell and Marcus Stripling, and especially kind of what message it might send for the defense moving forward?
Yeah, I think it just shows the confidence these guys have in this program and where we're going, and I think they understand the big picture vision here, that even though we're having a ton of success on the field right now, there's not a sense of satisfaction here at all. Like, you know, this is getting ready to get better, and our people feel that, these recruits feel that, they see it, and they want to come be a part of it.
The second straight year, it seemed like you got a lot of really good offensive players to commit early, and in the final weeks and maybe into February, you know, you're going after more defensive guys. Is that a staff decision or just kind of the way it's broken out the last 2 years?
Yeah, I would say more just how it's played out. We had a couple key guys offensively jump on a little bit earlier, but no, I think, you know, you sit back and look at us maybe over a 10-year period, I think you'll see that even out more. It's just kind of the way it's shaking out here.
Lincoln, this is everybody likes the early signing period, it appears, but does a December or whatever this is, 19th, you're playing the 29th. Is that too condensed, too close? I mean, you're playing Alabama in 10 days, and here you're having to worry about recruiting.
Yeah, no, it's good for us. If it's, you know, now if I'm playing in one of those games on the, you know, 20th, 21st, 22nd, that would be a lot. I don't know how those guys have done it, so, you know, hopefully we don't play in any of those. So it's been good to be later, certainly. Has it been a little hectic during this time? Yes, but keep in mind, we still, you know, we're used to playing on 7 days. So, I mean, we've still got more than that time, and we've been able to get a lot of work done. So I don't feel – it's been a lot, yes, but I don't feel rushed or uncomfortable with it at all.
Lincoln, last year was the trading cards, this year album covers. Yep. How happy are you with how that came together? And what's been feedback from recruits or families, stuff like that?
Yeah, feedback's been awesome. I mean, I guess we just try to show them with that, you know, this place is different, and we're going to do things that other people aren't to highlight you here, to help you once you get here. We're going to be creative. We're going to continue to, you know, to push the boundaries of this thing, and we've done some really, really unique things content-wise that I think have been great for our recruits. I think our fans have really enjoyed it. We've heard from a lot of people around the country that nobody is doing things like what you're doing, and and again, give our recruiting staff a ton of credit. That was their original idea. We're going to have a really cool signing day party in here in the facility here in about an hour and a half with some of our top boosters, all of our coaches and staff, just a chance to celebrate all this. And yeah, it's awesome. I mean, this is a special day. This is a life-changing day for a lot of these kids, and we want to make sure that we do everything we can so they can remember it. And it sends a message to all those out there in the future that, you know, that this place is going to do anything and everything for you. And so yeah, it's what a great idea and executed beautifully by our team.
I'm sorry. What was behind the decision or the idea to incorporate local businesses into those videos?
Just kind of our team wanted to have a different way to announce these guys. And as the whole record deal came together, they didn't want it to be kind of just the same thing. They wanted each guys to be unique, and this community and what they do is important to us. So it kind of worked as far as making it unique for each and every guy and involving this community that gives us so much support and all that the city of Norman does. So yeah, it was just a perfect match.
You got Marcus Major, a kid from Millwood. What drew you to him, and how important is it to get a kid from Oklahoma?
Yeah, it's big. One of the early guys that we targeted, and as his film started to circulate, you could see this kid is incredibly gifted. We got around him, his family, you could tell he had the kind of stuff that we want here, you know, internally. Great kid, very humble, hungry, wanted to be here, extremely gifted. You know, he's going to be a little raw coming in like a lot of these guys are, but man, the tools this cat's working with they're pretty good, and we've had a good history of developing those guys, and I think he'll certainly be one of the next.
Bridges and Lease and Stogner, are those all three guys you see having a pretty early impact?
I think they'll certainly have a chance to. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That was, you know, getting, you know, some more receiving threats with some of the guys we've lost the last few years, some of the guys we're getting ready to lose. That was, that was important. And, we've been able to continue to produce at all those different positions. So I think they're certainly going to have a chance. We're going to throw them in the fire early.
You signed 4 Marcuses. Have you figured out how to sign, how to refer to all these guys?
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, we've got some nicknames for him. We call Marcus Alexander Tank, so I don't even really count him. We call it Stripling Strip. So we got to get one for Marcus Major, Marcus Hicks, and then we'll be okay.
Stogner, size-wise, he's a traditional tight end. How are you really looking forward to kind of being able to use that in the offense again?
Yeah, no doubt. He'll be, probably a little bit closer to Mark, as far as physical ability. He's actually a little bit taller than Mark, a little bit longer. And we loved, we first watched, his pass catching ability, and you could see the guy runs routes like a receiver, very gifted, and I mean, a great frame, obviously, to catch, but very gifted hands. And then as time went on, even after we had offered him and even after he committed, you kept watching him, and the kid is really, really physical. I mean, he plays on the defensive side of the ball. They put him in line at tight end, and he has an edge and a mean streak that gets you excited about what all this kid could do for us. So, I mean, he was one of the top tight ends in the country for a reason. And, we're not going to take 3 or 4 of those guys every year. So when we get them, they got to be the right ones. And we're very confident we got the right one.
Lincoln, what did you think of your DB class?
I love it. I think, the safeties are it's a great group. We added some size, some physicality, with Jamal, obviously with Cradell. Those guys have some real pop. I like the corners. Jaden Davis was another guy. I didn't mention him earlier that was really key to this whole class, that was kind of all in, recruited his tail off, very, very invested. He's kind of that, I could see him being the leader of that group, kind of has that spunk, that charisma, that just kind of that it factor about him. So it was great to get him out of St. Thomas down in Fort Lauderdale. Woody Washington was a big key to it. It really reminds me a lot of Trey Norwood. Very smooth, athletic, one of those guys that's kind of just good at every single thing that he does. We love the DB class. I think it's, you got to continue to have great DBs in this league, as we know. And I like this class as a whole.
How many more do you expect to sign in February?
We got a few more still out there, so we'll have a few more surprises for everybody.
Any Oklahoma kids?
We'll see.
With the balance, you talked about balancing transfers. Obviously, it started with the grad transfers, and now it's the pool. Is that kind of leaning towards kind of reminding you of kind of a free agency type deal? And what are kind of your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, no, it's different. It's, having somebody, we got some people in our office that monitor the portal each day, and it's different. You can argue whether it's good or bad, but I do like it is a little more organized in that who is available and who's not. That part is nice. Probably a little early to say on that, overall feelings on it, because, kind of like the new signing period last year, we're just getting started with that. But you do like at least being aware right now.
You kind of think it, along with free agencies and professional sports, kind of added to a little bit more interest as, because some of the bigger names are getting thrown around. And it is a big deal. It's like its own little season with professional. Could you foresee it maybe turning into something like that potentially, where it's like a bigger deal?
Yeah, I don't know if that's. I don't know. I don't know what my feelings are. I don't want it to get too much professional, because this isn't professional. But at the same time, is it very similar to a waiver wire right now? Is it going to gather a lot of attention? Yes. Like I said, I just hope we don't have too many guys doing it. There's some guys that do it for great reasons, and it's certainly, the right thing to do. A guy like Trevor Knight a few years ago. I mean, that was absolute right decision for him, and worked out great for him. And so you hope it doesn't become bigger than it needs to be, I guess is my point.
When we talk about the transfer portal and knowing who's out there, is there less now worrying about reaching out through intermediaries and trying to do all that kind of stuff now that you just go to see a list and say these are the guys that are there?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think there is less of that, and I think they've also, planned on hammering down more on the tampering rule and those that do tamper, which is good. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty good combination. Yeah, and I think it probably makes it not as much through back channels where you know who's there, you know who you can contact right away, and it's not as much guesswork or kind of behind the scenes work.
Lincoln, did you get any feedback from kids the last few weeks along the lines of, look, I love everything about what you're pitching me here, and I'd like to come play for you, but there's this thought that you might not be there much longer. I hear you, I see you with regard to the NFL, or I hear from other coaches that you're not going to. Your near future is in the NFL. Did you get that, and if so, what was your response?
Yeah, no, they heard that from plenty of other coaches out there that seem to be experts on it. I think after sitting down and talking with these guys, they're very confident on where I'm going to be, the direction of this program, and where my heart and my mind are at right now.
Lincoln, has anyone expressed a option that they want to transfer from your program?
We've had some guys talk about it. Some of these guys are, getting ready to potentially play in playoff games. With that going on, it's a little bit different when your team's, I think, in the playoff versus not in the playoff. I mean, just the whole deal is, and they're both great, but that may delay potentially some of ours that would explore that option. So those are always open conversations we have. They're honestly not that different than what we would normally have. Just now, the name would at some point go into a portal, but you always know guys that that are maybe thinking about it. We encourage our guys to come talk to us about it. We don't want there to be secrets. We want to be able to address it and be able to guide them and help them in any way we can.
Any more questions?
Can I ask you a question about Alabama?
Yeah, sure.
While you're
Sure.
in front of us.
Yeah.
Last week the topic was about their offense and what you're up against with regard to that. Curious what your early impressions are of what they've got defensively. I keep reading stories and I keep seeing the word vulnerable about some, at least maybe comparatively speaking.
Yeah, they've been very vulnerable. Every game you turn on is about 50-10. So they're a tremendous team defensively. They're really good. I mean, they're strong up front, as they've traditionally been. I mean, the D tackle 92 he's phenomenal. Elite player that's had an elite year. It's really, really good. As good as we've played against, without a doubt. They got a nice combination up front of size, but also athleticism to be able to rush the passer. It's a unique blend. They've done a great job recruiting, developing those guys. Linebackers are experienced. They make plays sideline to sideline. DBs. I mean, you're talking all, 6'1", 6'2" guys, great length. Have some young guys playing that back there, but they've played extremely well. So I mean, they're very well coached. I mean, they don't beat themselves, and they've got enough athleticism and great players on that side that they make a ton of plays, and they make it extremely difficult to consistently move the ball. And they're as good as any defense that we've played in the 4 years that we've been here, without a doubt.
You guys practiced today then?
What's that?
You said you guys practiced today?
We did. Yep, we did.
Update on Marquise?
No, nothing yet.
Lincoln, the 18 months since Bob retired and you took over, 19 months maybe, 2 playoff appearances, great recruiting, all kinds of glory. Is this just, couldn't it be a better script in terms of taking over for such an iconic coach and sort of putting your own stamp on a program? I mean, could it have gone any better when you look back on these 19 months?
Yeah, we could have won the Rose Bowl. won 2 more last year. But it's gone great. I think a big reason it has is because of Bob and, all that we've talked about many times, how he's handled the entire situation, and even his presence now, for me is a huge thing. That'll always be the case here. And I think you just got to give everybody credit. Everybody's been on board with any direction that we've decided to take. Our new hires have worked out great. I think some of the new things we've done in recruiting have really helped. Our players have been tremendous through this stretch, so it's been a great run. I mean, there's no doubt. As a coach, you always want to sit there and say it could have been better, and it could have been better, but it's been really damn good too. And so we're having a lot of fun with it. And again, the most exciting thing to me is we still feel like there's much better out there for us, and we got a long ways to go. So that journey is going to be as much fun as this 18 or 19 months have been.
Sorry.
Very good.
Derek Green at one point decommitted, then recommitted. When you have a guy that decommits, how do you handle that in terms of continuing to recruit them?
Yeah.
And is it kind of a case-by-case thing, or do you think that you've lost them, or how do you handle
Yeah,
that?
no, it's a good question. Because we had it with we had it with Theo this year. We had it with CD. I believe the year before there may be missing one in there too, maybe another guy. But it is case by case. We try not to get too emotionally up or down. I mean, it's recruiting's kind of like a game. You may be down in the first quarter and you can't go lose your mind. You got to keep playing and keep swinging. At times when somebody decommits, maybe it's the right thing and you don't pursue them. And at times you decide you still want to recruit them and they still want you to recruit them, and it's just a bump in the road, but it's not the end. And so I think we've been able to keep our poise in those situations and continue to have belief that our place is the best for them, continue to be honest with them. And we've been fortunate. A lot of these guys a high number of the guys that have decommitted from us have came back. And I attribute that to the poise, the hard work of the staff, and then just the honesty in which the way we deal.
Back to my question about the transition. Do you take it as sort of a compliment that somebody has mimicked what you guys did, which is Ohio State, not an exact replica, but very similar, and that's not what they've been doing historically. Historically, they've gone out and hired somebody. Now they're saying, hey, let's just promote somebody from within. You take that as a compliment that somebody like Ohio State would say, let's do the Oklahoma model.
I honestly haven't thought of it that way. Been asked about it a few times. I don't know that I take it as a compliment. I think, we took a situation. This has happened before. A lot of times it doesn't happen well. I think everybody involved would probably take it as a compliment because it's not easy. It's a lot of people have got to put their own personal feelings aside, or it's got to totally be, everybody's got to be invested in the program, and it's got to be more about the program than it is them. And you got to have people at the top that are totally invested in it. It's something we're proud of, without a doubt. That's something I'm proud of, and proud to be associated with Bob, Joe, President Bourne, President Galgley now, the staff. I mean, so many people have to really be aligned to make this work, and so far everybody's been great.
Lincoln, and a follow-up on that, Ruffin, was there maybe a time when he had to get accustomed to calling plays for this team, jumping back into a defensive coordinator role, specifically with just a team that he hadn't had control of for a long time? And how have you seen him progress in that area over the last, since he jumped into that spot?
Yeah, no, I think there's that a little bit for everybody when you haven't done it in a while, but he's done it a lot throughout his career. So it kind of like riding a bike. It didn't take him long. We really got a lot of reps in those first 2 weeks. I thought he called a beautiful game at TCU and has continued to adjust and get smoother. A lot of it's not just the calls. A lot of it comes down to just the organization, especially when you're in the box, how do you communicate with your guys? How do they communicate with the kids? I mean, there's so many little intricacies, that you've got to work through to make sure that it works without any hitches. And I think our group's continued to work and do that. And again, I'm excited about the direction that we've headed there, and Ruffin's been a huge part of that. And I think we've played some of our best ball here at the end. And I think we got a chance to play even better here in the next couple.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Lincoln, thanks.
Thank you.